Maybe the funnest part of getting your private pilot's license is the qualifying cross-country. It's a beast. It's long, it's intense.
Okay, avionics master's on.
But you get to fly solo to a couple of different airfields across the country.
Airport!
And the sense of freedom and adventure is absolutely awe-inspiring and makes you appreciate life on such a deep level. Okay, that's the cringe part out of the way. For those of you who don't know what the qualifying cross-country is, essentially as part of getting your private pilot's license, you have to fly at least 270 kilometers or 150 nautical miles. Solo, that includes 2 full-stop landings at 2 different aerodromes that are different from your departure aerodrome. My qualifying cross-country route looked like this. Take off from my home airfield Redhill, fly to Lee-On-Solent, which is next to Portsmouth. That was stop number 1. Have a cup of tea and a biscuit, and then start my second leg from Lee-On-Solent to Lydd. This was so cool. I got to take in the beautiful south coast and really enjoy the cruise. Lydd is stop number 2, and after that, time for the last leg back to Redhill. This video is going to be just the first leg from Redhill down to Lee-On-Solent, because I want to do each part justice, especially for people watching that might be doing the PPL course in the south, and I don't want to skimp on ATC transmissions and all that kind of stuff. If you are currently doing your PPL, or if you're thinking about starting it, I do have a video where I go into a bit of detail about the course structure. A link to that is somewhere around here. I don't know how it works yet. Of course, as always, this is just for entertainment purposes. It's not for educational purposes. Do seek professional advice. I am not a flight instructor. Even though it was over a year ago now, I remember feeling so excited for this flight. I'm gonna leave in the ATC transmissions here, but if you want to skip to the actual takeoff, then just fast forward a minute or so.
This is Redhill Information India. Time 09:20 hours. Runway in use, 07 right. Caution, model aircraft flying from a site 1.5 nautical miles north of aerodrome. Surface wind, 070, 7 knots, varying between 010 and 080 degrees. Visibility, 10 kilometers or more. View 3,100 feet.
Redhill Tower, good morning. Student Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie, outbound with Information India QNH 1029er.
Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Delta, Redhill Tower, pass your message.
Student Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie, outside of Hangar 8, 1 POV, Katana DB20, requesting taxi for a landway flight to Lee-On-Solent, VFR.
Golf Papa Charlie, Squawk 3767, taxi across the grass to holding point to Golf 1.
Squawk 3767, taxi across the grass to holding point Golf 1, Student Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie. Student Golf Papa Charlie, holding Golf 1, ready for departure.
Golf Papa Charlie, hold Golf 1, after departure, left turn outbound junction, north above altitude 1,400 feet.
Our position, after departure, left-hand turn, leave by junction, not above altitude 1,400 feet, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, runway 07 right, service 0708 knots, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff, runway 07 right, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
Yeah, clear for takeoff, check final.
Runway 07 right.
They're all set. Copy's off, fuel pump is on. Go.
Taking off in these katanas is a wonderful experience.
SB coming alive, TCP's in the green. Clear up.
They just yearn for the air.
Time 60.
Look, I love my Cessna 150, but my god, do you notice the difference when you're in one of these katanas?
Golf Papa Charlie, traffic is a Helimed helicopter just to the west of the junction, reaching south.
Visual traffic, Golf Papa Charlie and at junction.
Golf Papa Charlie, basic service, mail function airspace.
Basic service, will code Golf Papa Charlie
Once I had departed Redhill via the junction, I switched frequency to Farnborough radar.
Student Golf, Papa Charlie, request frequency change to Farnborough West 125.125.
Golf Papa Charlie, Scott Constitute 23, Golf Farnborough, bye.
47,000, Wilford Farnborough, Golf Papa Charlie, bye-bye.
And carried on west, initially until I was just over Guildford.
Farnborough West, good morning, Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, requesting basic service.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, on the radar, flash message.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, Katana DB20, 1 POV, operating Redhill to Lee-On-Solent, currently at Guildford, altitude 2,000 feet, QNH 1029, requesting basic service, VFR.
Golf Papa Charlie, QNH 1029, basic service, score to 0433.
QNH 1029, score 0433, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
And it was down south towards Portsmouth. I've flown this route quite a few times since getting my PPL, and aside from having to be really on it with Gatwick's airspace, it is a beautiful flight. I absolutely love it when the coast starts to appear.
The information, good morning, Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, inbound request for airfield information.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, the information, we are operating 05 with a left-hand syndicate QFE 1028.
05 left hand, QFE 1028, just approaching Spinnaker Tower, north to Golf Bravo Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, roger, report passing Spinnaker Tower. I've got a PA-20 joining from Portsmouth as well.
Keep the traffic and we'll report overhead Spinnaker Tower to Golf Papa Charlie.
And as you can see, once you get to Portsmouth, you've got the harbour, the Isle of Wight, all of the south coast. It's just stunning. The approach into Lee-On-Solent isn't that tricky, but there is a bit of noise abatement that you've got to pay attention to. I actually struggled with the landing here on runway 05. I'd only actually flown in once before with my instructor, and we were landing on the opposite runway, runway 23, which meant that I didn't actually approach over the water. However, the day of my qualifying cross-country, runway 05 was in use, and as it was my first time approaching over the water, I was a bit high and felt like I needed to go around.
Student Golf Papa Charlie going around.
Golf Papa Charlie, roger, report downwind of 05.
44 downwind runway 05, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
I'm sure there'll be more experienced pilots that would have been able to land this, no problem, and maybe if I'd practiced my side slipping, it would have been easy. But why risk it when you can just go around? I know it's really drilled into us as pilots, but it can never be said enough. If in doubt, just go around. I found it quite tempting early on to just try and get the plane down on the ground, but especially when you're flying into smaller strips. If the approach isn't quite as stable as you'd like it to be, get that power on, flaps out, and do a go around.
Student Golf Papa Charlie downwind runway 05 to land.
Golf Papa Charlie, roger, 2 ahead, 1 on final, 1 on base, report final in turn.
Visual traffic, we'll report final.
Yankee final, land, runway 05, visual 1 off.
Golf Alpha Yankee, runway 05, no discretion, surface wind 210 degrees 3 knots, a bit of a sea breeze catching in now.
Golf Alpha Yankee, we'll go.
Golf Papa Charlie, orbiting to the right.
Golf Papa Charlie, roger. Other cargo.
Golf Papa Charlie, orbit complete. About 10 final for runway 05 to land.
Golf Papa Charlie, runway 05, no discretion, surface wind 1730 degrees 4 knots, a bit of a tailwind of 2 knots.
landing is runway 05, Golf Papa Charlie.
Eventually, I did get the approach somewhat okay and was able to get down and enjoy a cup of tea at Lee-On-Solent. Now, I really like this airfield, not only because of the massive runway, the great cafe, the really friendly staff, and of course, the amazing history there. But the beach is literally a 5-minute walk from the terminal.
Papa Charlie, welcome to the UK 180 backtrack on runway 05 to come to the tower.
Backtrack 180 and back to the tower. Golf Papa Charlie, thank you very much.
Golf Papa Charlie, all the way to the end, left on Alpha.
All the way to the end, left on Alpha. Super Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Alpha Yankee, crossing the upshoot runway 05.
Golf Alpha Yankee. Golf Papa Charlie, just caution, one aircraft is crossing at the far end of the runway.
Leo with traffic, Golf Papa Charlie.
Anyway, that was the first leg of my qualifying cross country. You can find part 2 somewhere around here, where I fly from Lee-On-Solent to Lydd. As always, I massively appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. Pop me a comment if you've been to Lee-On-Solent before, and if you're feeling up for it, give it a like. Taking off from runway 23 at Lee-On-Solent is absolutely stunning. And for this to be the first stop on my qualifying cross country was a real treat. If you haven't seen the first part of my qualifying cross country, then there's a link somewhere here to how I got from Redhill to Lee-On-Solent. This day was a really big part of my journey to becoming a qualified private pilot. So just to recap for those who don't know what the qualifying cross country is, as part of your private pilot's license, you have to fly solo at least 270 kilometers or 150 nautical miles, and that has to include 2 full stop landings at 2 different aerodromes that are also different from your departure aerodrome. This was my overall journey, and as you can see, we are on the second leg, Lee-On-Solent to Lydd. This journey takes me along the south coast, and actually it was my first time flying this route, so I remember being really excited to see places like Brighton that I knew pretty well from the sky.
The information, Student Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie, outbound, request radio check.
Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie, the information, good afternoon, readability 5, runway 05 left-hand circuit, QNH 1029er.
Readability 5, QNH 1029er and 05 left.
Papa Charlie, forecast security squawk 4306 and taxi Alpha 1.
Squawk 4306, taxi Alpha 1, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, cross runway 23 to Bravo, taxi your discretion Bravo 3.
Cross runway 23 and taxi Bravo 3, Student Golf Papa Charlie. Student Golf Papa Charlie, holding Bravo 3, ready for departure to Lydd.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, the traffic was a Cherokee reported in Mountain Spinnaker Tower to join downwind 23. Runway 23, take over at your discretion, service at 190 degrees 6 knots.
Take off runway 23, Student Golf Papa Charlie, thank you.
As I said in the opening, taking off from this runway is pretty cool.
Wilco, Charlie Golf Lima Sierra.
Copy, set hold. Airspeed alive, keep green. Left off. 60.
And what made it even more special is that my instructor was actually up in the area with another student.
Golf India Juliet, the information shown for you is a Diamond Catalyst and the climb light departing to the east.
Copy the traffic and most definitely looking out for him. He is one of ours. Golf India Juliet.
Jonathan!
I'm just gonna let this time lapse play out. It was such a great day, and as this was the first time doing a flight of this nature, where it wasn't just a return trip to a single airfield, it really felt like a proper adventure. I do sometimes wish that I'd gotten my external mounts for my GoPro at this stage of my training, because these views would have looked awesome from outside of the cockpit, but I wanted to strike a balance of not being obsessed with trying to capture every moment of my PPL and really keep my attention on the course. Hence why I'm only getting around to doing these videos now, despite this flight being over a year ago. I got a basic service from Shoreham, and then it was on to Lydd.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, switching to Shoreham, approach at Scorpion 7000. Bye-bye.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, roger, bye-bye.
Papa Charlie requesting basic service.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, short hello, pass your message.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, Katana DD20 operating Lee-On-Solent to Lydd at altitude 1,700 feet, just at LD, requesting basic service. QNH 1029.
029 at basic service, Squawk 3763.
QNH 1029, Squawk 3763, basic service, fully operating about 4 miles to the south of you, west to east. Student Golf Papa Charlie.
Papa Charlie, understood.
Acknowledge receipt of information. Echo, QNH 1029 on first contact.
Good approach, good afternoon. Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie inbound from the west with information Zulu QNH 1029.
Student Operation Papa Charlie, need to approach Squawk 7066, report your altitude and position.
Squawk 7066, altitude 2,600 feet, QNH 1029, and just past Eastbourne VFR.
Golf Papa Charlie, it's an overhead joint, 03 right hand, report 4 miles to run.
Report 4 miles to run, 03 right, joint overhead. Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, near QNH 1030.
New QNH 1030, student Golf Papa Charlie.
And Golf Kilo Victor, near QNH 1030. QNH 1030, my Golf Kilo Victor.
I remember really clearly on this flight, just as I was getting close to Lydd, that I really needed a wee.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, 4 miles out.
Papa Charlie, due to just recovering the unmanned aircraft, hold at 4 miles, I'll call you in very shortly.
Holding 4 miles, student Golf Papa Charlie.
So being told to hold was quite far from ideal.
And Golf Papa Charlie, continuing back to the field, report overhead 1,500 feet.
Continuing back to the field, we'll report overhead 1,500 feet. Student Golf Papa Charlie.
But thankfully it wasn't for too long, and I was finally able to make my approach into Lydd.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, overhead.
Golf Papa Charlie, report downwind right hand 03.
Report downwind, copy 03 right hand, student Golf Papa Charlie.
This was the only airfield on my qualifying cross country that gave me a rating for my ATC communication, which I had no idea that they did. But when I got to reception to pay my landing fee, I was told that I got the best score that you can get, so I mean, This was a really fun leg to fly, and it taught me a few things. Firstly, when submitting your arrival times for your PPR, give yourself time and space. I gave Lydd a time that was cutting it a bit fine. I ended up making it with no issue, but it was playing on my mind a bit that I was going to have to get into contact with them kind of as soon as I could, otherwise they'd wonder where I'd got to. And secondly, just go to the loo before you fly.
Golf Papa Charlie, number 1, report final.
Report final, student Golf Papa Charlie.
My approach into Lydd, kind of similar to my approach into Lee-On-Solent, wasn't the best.
Final runway 03, student Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, clear to land 030, 15 knots.
Clear to land runway 03, Golf Papa Charlie.
Again.
But actually, looking back, it worked out okay, as the turn for the taxiway wasn't too far away from where I ended up. What's that phrase? I paid for the full runway, so I'm gonna use it.
Golf Papa Charlie, backtrack and vacate by Charlie to park on the Charlie apron.
Backtrack and taxi by Charlie to park on the Charlie apron. Student Golf Papa Charlie.
Whilst I can't see myself flying to Lydd for a jolly now that I've got my pilot's license, it was my first solo land-away flight, so it does hold some pretty nostalgic memories. I've made a video on that as well, which again you can find somewhere. Anyway, that wraps up leg 2 for my qualifying cross country. Let me know in the comments if you've been to Lydd, if there's anything nice to do around Lydd, or any thoughts and bits of advice you have on the qualifying cross country flight. If you've enjoyed this, maybe pop me a follow, and of course a like is always appreciated.
1250.
And then it was time to fly home. This is the third part of my qualifying cross country, where I fly from Lydd back to my home airfield of Redhill. If you've not seen part 1, then the link to it is somewhere on the screen. I don't know how it works yet. Unfortunately, my GoPro ran out of battery, so not only is there only one camera angle, but I didn't capture any of the landing. However, I thought it might be fun to bust out Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and as I've got the Katana and the Redhill Aerodrome DLC, plus of course the cockpit audio still, thought it might be fun to sync them up. This was the plan for the flight, nice and simple: Lydd up to Bow Beach, and then onto the home straight, back into Redhill. I enjoyed flying into Lydd the few times that I did it, but as I said in part 2, it's probably not somewhere that I'm going to go now that I've got my pilot's license.
Lydd approach, good afternoon, student Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie, outbound with information, Golf QNH 1029er.
Golf Bravo X-Ray Papa Charlie, lead approach, I'm going to read you 5, squawk 7066, runway 03, taxi holding point Charlie for your power checks.
Squawk 7066, read for the C5 and taxi Charlie for power checks, student Golf Papa Charlie. Student Golf Papa Charlie holding Charlie ready for departure.
Golf Papa Charlie, taxi holding point Delta.
Taxi holding point Delta, student Golf Papa Charlie. Student Golf Papa Charlie holding Delta ready for departure.
Golf Papa Charlie, hold position.
Hold position, Golf Papa Charlie.
Very cool plane.
Golf Papa Charlie, line up 03.
Line up 03, student Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, wind 06015 knots, left turn out, clear for takeoff.
Left hand out, clear for takeoff, runway 03, student Golf Papa Charlie, thank you.
Flying this route back to Redhill, you do have to be quite careful with your altitude. As you can see here, it can be so easy to be cruising at 3,000 feet past Headcorn, but if you stay there, you're going to be busting the London TMA when you get to near Tunbridge Wells.
Charlie, Roger, report your intended altitude and then passing 10 to them.
Intended altitude 2,000 feet and we'll report passing 10 to them. Student Golf Papa Charlie. From what I remember about this flight, I was
so exhausted by the end of it. I was of course a student pilot with not many hours. I think I was at 37 hours 40 when I did this. So it was only natural that fatigue would kick in. I think I'd recommend scheduling your cross country on a day where you definitely don't have work, you don't have any deadlines in the evening, and of course if you can get a good night's sleep the night before, then that's brilliant.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, passing Pentagon.
Golf Papa Charlie, squawk 7000, free call Farnborough radar 123225, bye-bye.
Squawk 7000 and squawk for Farnborough radar 123.55. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Farnborough East, good afternoon. Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie requesting basic service.
Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, Farnborough radar, good afternoon, voice message.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, the Katana DV20 operating Lydd to Redhill, currently just at Kensington, altitude 2,000 feet, QNH 1029er, requesting basic service, VFR.
Golf Papa Charlie, squawk 1731, basic service, QNH is 1030.
QNH 1030, squawk 1731, basic service, Golf Papa Charlie.
That's fuel wall there. Yes, it is fuel wall.
Student Golf Papa Charlie, request frequency change to Redhill, 119.605.
Golf Papa Charlie, Roger, squawk conspicuity, bye-bye.
Squawk 7000, and bye-bye, thank you, Golf Papa Charlie. Redhill Tower, good afternoon, Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, inbound with information of Romeo QNH 1029er.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, Redhill Tower, pass your message.
Student Golf Bravo X-ray Papa Charlie, inbound from the east, currently at Bow Beach, altitude 1,200 feet, QNH 1029er, request.
Golf Papa Charlie, stand by. Golf Papa Charlie, squawk 3767, report your position.
Squawk 3767, position just past Bow Beach.
Golf Papa Charlie, report Godstone.
Full report Godstone, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
So with the help of Farnborough radar, I was back in contact with Redhill.
Golf Papa Charlie, departure point.
Departed from Lydd, Golf Papa Charlie.
And yes, sorry I don't have the actual landing, so please enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Golf Papa Charlie, join the left-hand downwind, runway 07. You are number 3 to PA 28, turning downwind on midpoint.
Join left-hand downwind runway 07 right and number 3, Golf Papa Charlie. Student Golf Papa Charlie, downwind runway 08 to the left.
Golf Papa Charlie, port final, runway 07 right, number 2, PA 28 on final.
Port final runway 07 right and number 2, Papa Charlie. Student Golf Papa Charlie, final runway 07 to land.
Golf Papa Charlie, continue approach.
Continue approach, Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, runway 07 right, 505010 knots, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 07 right, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf Papa Charlie, vacate left, taxi across the grass, cross runway 18 back to
Vacate left, taxi across the grass, cross runway 18 back to park, Student Golf Papa Charlie.
And there we go. My qualifying cross country was done and dusted. I've got a video on this channel where I go into a bit of detail about the overall course structure of the PPL and a bit about my experience of taking it in the south of England. The link to that will be floating around somewhere here. Thank you so much for watching this. If you fancy it, consider subscribing. Always welcome a like. And do pop me a comment if there's something in particular you'd like to see on this channel.